Close your eyes. Let the modern world fade away. The year is 115 after the birth of Christ. The Emperor Trajan sits upon the throne. His empire stretches from the rain-swept woods of Britain to the burning sands of Mesopotamia. Rome is the center of the universe. It is a city of marble and gold. But it is also a city of smoke and shadow. Tonight, we follow the life of a man named Marcus. He is a citizen of Rome. His story is the story of the streets. It is the story of the grit and the glory. Take a deep breath. The air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and the Tiber River. Let us begin our journey through the winding alleys of the past. The darkness in the room is heavy. It smells of old wool and charcoal. Marcus lies still on his small bed. The mattress is stuffed with dry straw. It rustles every time he moves. Outside, the city is starting to moan. Rome never truly sleeps. It only shifts its weight. Marcus lives in a district called the Subura. It is the beating heart of the city. It is loud. It is crowded. It is dangerous. He lives on the 4th floor of an insula. This is a Roman apartment block. To the wealthy, these buildings are eyesores. To Marcus, it is home. He listens to the sounds of the timber framing. The wood creaks under the weight of the floors above him. The walls are thin. He can hear a child crying 2 floors down. He can hear a man coughing behind the next wall. The satirist Juvenal once wrote about these places. He said, "We inhabit a city held up by slender props. The landlords hide the cracks in the old walls. They paper over the ruins of the building." Marcus knows this fear well. Fire is a constant ghost in the hallway. A single knocked-over lamp can end 100 lives. There are no fire escapes here. There is only the long, narrow staircase. He pushes the thought away. He must rise. The sun has not yet broken the horizon, but the pre-dawn light is gray and soft. He sits up and feels the cold floor. It is made of crushed brick and lime. It is hard and functional. He does not own a lamp. Oil is expensive. He navigates the room by touch. He finds his tunic. It is made of coarse, unbleached wool. It is the uniform of the working man. He pulls it over his head. The fabric is scratchy against his skin. He fastens a simple leather belt around his waist. Now comes the most important ritual of the day. He must don his toga. For a man like Marcus, the toga is a burden. It is a massive semicircular cloth of white wool. It is heavy. It is hot. It is difficult to clean. But it is his right. It is the mark of a free-born Roman citizen. Only a citizen may wear it. Without it, he is nothing in the eyes of the law. He begins the process of wrapping it. This is a slow task. He has no slave to help him drape the folds. He throws one end over his left shoulder. He brings the bulk of the fabric behind his back. He tucks it under his right arm. Then he drapes the remainder over his left shoulder again. He adjusts the sinus. This is the deep fold of cloth at the chest. It serves as his only pocket. He checks the umbo. This is the knob of fabric that holds the arrangement in place. He looks at his reflection in a small, polished piece of bronze. He looks tired, but he looks Roman. The toga hangs heavy on his frame. It restricts his movement. He cannot run in this garment. He cannot work in the fields in this garment. That is the point. The toga says that Marcus belongs to the city. It says he is a part of the Roman order. He hears the sound of footsteps on the stairs. The water carriers are active now. They bring buckets from the public fountains to the lower floors. The people on the ground floor have running water. They have space. Marcus must carry his own waste down. He must fetch his own water from the street. He picks up a small clay jar. He checks his sinus for a few copper coins. They are there. He feels the weight of the day ahead. Today is a day of obligation. He must visit his patron. He must stand in the cold and wait for a favor. This is the client-patron system. It is the glue that holds Rome together. The rich protect the poor. The poor give the rich their narrow votes and their presence. He opens his door. The hallway is narrow and dark. The air here is foul. It smells of the communal latrine at the end of the hall. He walks carefully down the stairs. The wood is worn smooth by thousands of feet. Each step is a gamble. Vitruvius, the great architect, warned of these tall buildings. He said the walls were too thin for the height. But Rome has no more room to spread out. It can only grow up toward the clouds. Marcus reaches the second floor. Here the rooms are larger. The rent is higher. The air is slightly cleaner. He reaches the ground floor. The shops are starting to open their wooden shutters. The clatter-clatter of the boards hitting the stone is the alarm clock of the city. He steps out onto the street. The Subura is a canyon of brick and timber. The buildings lean toward each other. They blot out the sky. The ground is paved with large, irregular blocks of basalt. They are slick with the morning dew. He smells the cooking fires. He smells the open sewers. He smells the mule dung from the night wagons. The wagons are leaving now. By law, they cannot enter the city during the day. They must move at night to keep the streets clear. The sound of their iron-rimmed wheels is finally fading. It is replaced by the roar of human voices. Marcus adjusts his toga one last time. He feels the scratch of the wool on his neck. He is hungry, but breakfast must wait. First, he must show his face. He must prove he is a loyal client. He turns toward the hill where the great houses stand. The climb is steep. The air becomes thinner and fresher as he ascends. Behind him, the insula disappears into the morning mist. It is a fragile hive of humanity. It is a miracle of engineering and a disaster waiting to happen. Marcus does not look back. He walks with the steady pace of a man who knows his place in the world. He is Marcus. He is a citizen, and the day has begun. The climb up the hill is long. Marcus feels the weight of his toga with every step. The air begins to change. The thick, damp smell of the Subura stays behind in the valley. Here, near the grander homes, the air carries a hint of gardens. He smells pine trees and blooming jasmine. The streets are wider. The paving stones are fitted more tightly together. There are no leaning wooden towers here. These houses are made of solid stone and brick. They are the domus of the elite. These walls do not shake. They do not leak the sounds of crying children. They are silent and imposing. Marcus reaches a large, heavy wooden door. This is the house of his patron, a man named Publius. In Rome, no man stands alone. Every man of low rank needs a protector of high rank. Marcus is a cliens. Publius is his patronus. This is the sacred bond of the salutatio. It is the morning ritual of the Roman world. Marcus is not alone. A small crowd of men is already gathering in the vestibulum. This is the entrance court outside the main doors. All these men are dressed in white togas. From a distance, they look like a sea of pale ghosts. The satirist Marshall often complained about this hour. He hated the long walk in the dark. He hated the cold wind that bites at the ankles. Marcus feels the same chill. He pulls a fold of his toga higher over his chest. He waits. This is a game of patience and status. The men in the crowd eye one another. They look at the quality of each other's wool. They look for stains or fraying edges. There is a social ladder even among the poor. Some of these men are teachers. Some are minor clerks. Some, like Marcus, are simply citizens with no steady work. The heavy doors groan open. A slave steps out into the light. He is the nomenclator. His job is both simple and vital. He must remember the name of every client. He must know who is loyal and who is a stranger. He looks over the crowd with a bored expression. To him, these citizens are a daily chore. He calls out the first name. A man pushes forward, smoothing his hair. Marcus waits for his turn. The queue moves slowly. The sun is now fully above the hills. It catches the gold leaf on the nearby temples. It makes the white marble of the city glow with a blinding light. Finally, the slave speaks. Marcus, son of Lucius. Marcus steps forward. He crosses the threshold of the house. The interior is a different world. He enters the atrium. It is a vast, high-ceilinged hall. In the center of the roof is a square opening called the compluvium. Directly below it is a shallow pool called the impluvium. This pool catches the rainwater. The water is clear and still. The air inside the house is cool and smells of expensive incense. Along the walls stand the imagines. These are the wax masks of the patron's ancestors. They stare down at Marcus with frozen, lifelike eyes. They remind him of the long history of this family. At the far end of the hall sits Publius. He is seated in a high-backed chair of carved oak. He is older than Marcus. His toga is made of the finest, whitest wool. It has a broad purple stripe along the edge. This is the toga praetexta. It marks him as a man of senatorial rank. Publius is holding a scroll. He does not look up immediately. He is a busy man. He has properties to manage. He has political favors to trade. Marcus stands a few paces away. He keeps his head slightly bowed. The interaction is brief. It is a performance of power. "Greetings, patron," Marcus says. His voice is steady. Publius looks up. He gives a short, tight nod. He does not ask about Marcus's health. He does not ask about his life in the insula. He simply acknowledges that Marcus is here. Marcus has shown his face. He has added to the crowd that makes Publius look important. In Rome, a man's power is measured by the length of his shadow. The more clients he has, the larger his shadow becomes. A slave standing beside the chair reaches into a chest. He produces the sportula. In the old days, the sportula was a basket of food. Now it is usually a small amount of money. The slave drops 6 copper sesterces into Marcus's hand. The metal is cool. It represents a day's survival. It will pay for his bread. It will pay for a cup of cheap wine. It might even pay for a seat at the games. Marcus tucks the coins into the sinus of his toga. He feels the weight of the copper against his ribs. "May the gods watch over you, patron," Marcus says. It is the required phrase. Publius is already looking toward the next man in line. The audience is over. Marcus turns and walks back toward the doors. He feels a mixture of relief and a dull, familiar shame. Juvenal wrote that the life of a client is a life of cold and hungry hope, Marcus knows this feeling well. He is a free citizen. He is the master of the world in name. But in reality, he depends on the crumbs from a rich man's table. He steps back out into the street. The sun is much higher now. The city is louder. The silence of the atrium is replaced by the roar of the Roman morning. There are more people on the streets now. Delivery men are carrying crates on their shoulders. Mules are being led toward the markets. The nomenclator is still calling out names at the door. Marcus moves away from the grand house. He descends back toward the valley. His stomach begins to rumble. He has his coins. Now he needs his breakfast. He walks toward a district known as the Subura again. This time, he is looking for a thermopolium. This is the Roman equivalent of a fast food stall. Most people in the apartments do not cook. Their rooms are too small. The danger of fire is too great. The streets provide the kitchen for the poor. He sees a corner shop with a counter facing the street. The counter is covered in colorful marble scraps. Large clay jars are set into the stone. These jars hold hot lentils, spiced stews, and wine. The smell of frying fat fills the air. It is a greasy, salty scent. It makes Marcus's mouth water. He sees the owner of the shop shouting at a group of laborers. The man is red-faced and loud. He is serving bowls of thick porridge made from emmer wheat. Marcus reaches into his toga. He pulls out one of his copper coins. He joins the queue of hungry men. The chaos of the Subura is now in full swing. Schoolboys are walking to their lessons. They carry wax tablets and wooden styluses. Their teachers are often Greek slaves. They sit in open-air booths and shout their lessons over the noise of the traffic. Marcus watches a line of heavy-set men moving a large stone block. They are using ropes and rollers. They sing a rhythmic song to keep their pace. A stray dog darts between their legs, looking for a scrap of meat. Marcus reaches the counter. He buys a piece of coarse bread and a bowl of hot chickpeas. The chickpeas are seasoned with cumin and vinegar. He eats standing up. There are no tables for a man like him. He leans against a brick wall and watches the world go by. The bread is hard. He has to dip it into the chickpea broth to soften it. It is simple food. It is the fuel of the empire. He is just one man among a million. But with a full stomach and coins in his pocket, he feels a small sense of peace. The day is long. The city is vast. He finishes his meal and wipes his hands on a rag. He is ready for the forum. He is ready to see the heart of the world. He blends back into the river of white togas. He is a Roman. He is moving with the tide. The morning air in the Subura is thick. It carries the weight of 1,000 breaths. Marcus stands by the stone counter of the thermopolium. He finishes his simple meal of chickpeas. The vendor is a man with thick, scarred hands. He wipes the marble surface with a dirty rag. He does not smile. In this part of Rome, smiles are rare. Survival is the only goal. Marcus looks at the jars set into the counter. They are called dolia. Some contain dried fruits. Others hold salted fish from the coast. The most common scent is garum. This is the famous Roman fish sauce. It is made from fermented fish guts and salt. It is pungent. It is sharp. It is in almost everything a Roman eats. To Marcus, the smell is comforting. It means there is food. It means the city is alive. He buys a small cup of wine. It is not the fine Falernian wine of the senators. This wine is young and harsh. It has been watered down. No decent Roman drinks his wine neat. To do so is a mark of a barbarian. Marcus sips the liquid. It warms his throat. He watches the street from the safety of the shop's awning. The Subura is a valley of noise. It lies between the Viminal and Esquiline hills. It is the most densely populated place on earth. Here, the social order is a tangle. You will see a wealthy man in a litter. He is carried on the shoulders of 8 tall slaves. He looks straight ahead. He tries to ignore the filth. But the litter must stop every few yards. The streets are too narrow for the crowds. The Argiletum is the main road here. It is lined with the shops of booksellers and shoemakers. The signs hang low over the path. One sign shows a pair of leather boots. Another shows a stack of scrolls. The vendors do not stay inside their shops. They spill out onto the pavement. They scream their prices at the passers-by. Fine Spanish oil. Fresh bread from the ovens of the Forum. The noise is a physical force. The philosopher Seneca once lived near such a place. He wrote that the sounds were enough to drive a man mad. He spoke of the hammering of the smiths. He mentioned the yelling of the cake sellers. He described the whistling of the water pipe repairmen. Marcus is used to it. The silence of the countryside would frighten him. To Marcus, silence is the sound of an empty stomach. He steps out from the shop and joins the flow. Walking in the Subura is an art form. You must be quick. You must be observant. You must watch your feet. The basalt stones are uneven. The central gutter is often clogged with refuse. There are no underground pipes for the waste of the poor. Everything is tossed from the upper windows of the insulae. Juvenal warned of this. He told people to never go to dinner without making a will. A falling pot or a bucket of slops could end your life in an instant. Marcus looks up. The sky is just a thin blue ribbon. The buildings on either side are 5 or 6 stories high. They are a patchwork of red brick and yellow timber. Laundry hangs from the balconies. It flutters like the flags of a defeated army. He sees a woman leaning out of a 4th-floor window. She is shaking a rug. The dust falls like gray snow onto the heads of the people below. No one complains. It is simply the way of the city. The crowd is a sea of different faces. Rome is the world's capital. It draws people from every corner of the empire. Marcus passes a group of sailors from Alexandria. They have dark skin and wear linen tunics. They speak in rapid, melodic Greek. He passes a giant of a man from the northern frontiers. The man has red hair and wears heavy trousers. To a Roman, trousers are the mark of a savage. But here in the Subura, everyone must coexist. There are also the beggars. They sit in the shadows of the arches. Some are old soldiers. Some are slaves who have been cast out by their masters. They hold out wooden bowls. They cry out to the Great Mother or to Jupiter the Provider. Marcus has no more coins to give. He keeps his hand on his sinus. He must guard his remaining sesterces. Pickpockets are everywhere. They move like ghosts through the press of bodies. The heat is starting to rise. The humidity of the valley makes the wool of his toga feel heavy. It begins to itch against his neck. He passes a Folonica. This is a Roman laundry. The smell is overpowering. It is the sharp ammonia scent of human urine. The workers stand in large vats. They jump up and down on the dirty clothes. The urine acts as a natural bleaching agent. It is a grim, hard job. The men's legs are stained and pale, but the white togas of the elite must be kept bright. Marcus moves toward the Vicus Celeratus. This is the street of crime. It is an ancient place with a dark history. The air here feels cooler. The buildings are older and more decayed. He sees a small shrine on a street corner. It is a compitum. This is a shrine to the gods of the crossroads. He stops for a brief moment. He touches the stone base of the altar. He does not say a prayer. He simply acknowledges the spirits of the place. In Rome, the gods are everywhere. They are in the kitchen. They are in the gutter. They are in the wind that whistles through the alleys. He nears the end of the Subura. The streets begin to open up. The buildings are less crowded. He can see the white stone of the great forums ahead. The noise changes. It shifts from the chaotic scream of the slum to a deeper, more rhythmic drone. This is the sound of the law. It is the sound of the state. He sees the tabularium rising in the distance. It is the great hall of records. Marcus feels a sense of transition. He is leaving the world of the gut and the belly. He is entering the world of the mind and the empire. He adjusts the drape of his toga. He wipes a bead of sweat from his forehead. His feet ache from the stones. But he must keep moving. A citizen has duties. He must listen to the orators. He must witness the legal battles. He must be a part of the grand machine. He looks back one last time at the canyon of the Subura. A mule has collapsed in the middle of the road. The driver is cursing loudly. A crowd has gathered to watch. Life there is a constant struggle for space. It is a beautiful, terrible mess. Marcus turns his back on the chaos. He walks toward the Forum Romanum. The sun is bright on the marble. The world is wide. He is a Roman citizen, and the heart of the world is waiting for him. The shade of the Subura falls away. Marcus enters the light of the Forum Romanum. The transition is sudden. The narrow alleys open into a vast sea of stone. It is blinding. The morning sun strikes the white marble. It reflects back with a fierce heat. Marcus shields his eyes for a moment. He waits for his vision to clear. This is the center of the world. Every road in the empire leads here. This is where the heartbeat of Rome is loudest. The air here is different. It does not smell of the gutter. It smells of burnt offerings and old dust. It smells of expensive perfume and sun-warmed bronze. The noise is no longer a chaotic scream. It is a deep and rhythmic drone. It is the sound of 1,000 conversations. It is the sound of the law. Marcus walks toward the center of the plaza. The paving stones are smooth. They are made of fine travertine. They feel solid beneath his thin sandals. To his left is the Basilica Aemilia. It is a massive hall of justice and business. Its long portico offers a respite from the sun. Marcus enters the shade of the columns. The interior is cool and grand. He hears the clicking of coins. This is where the bankers sit. They sit behind small wooden tables. They exchange the currencies of the world. They trade denarii for drachmae. They weigh gold with steady hands. Marcus has no business here. He is a spectator in his own capital. He looks at the floor of the basilica. He sees a group of men gathered in a circle. They are crouching low. They are playing a game of la trunculi. It is a game of strategy and carved stones. Some men have even scratched game boards into the marble floor. They use their daggers to mark the stone forever. It is a strange sight. The most beautiful building in the world is used as a playground. But that is the Roman way. The grand and the common live side by side. Marcus moves back out into the open air. He walks toward the rostra. This is the great speaker's platform. It is decorated with the bronze prows of captured ships. This is where the orators stand. They wave their arms. They shout at the sky. One man is speaking about a new tax. Another is praising the victories of Emperor Trajan in the east. Marcus listens for a few moments. The Latin is formal and sharp. It is the language of power. It is a weapon used to sway the minds of the people. Vitruvius once said that the forum should be proportional to the population. He said it should not be too small for use. He said it should not look empty due to a lack of people. Today, it is not empty. It is a hive. Marcus sees the senators moving in groups. They are surrounded by their own clients. Their togas are whiter than his. Their purple stripes are wider. They move like ships through the water. The crowds part for them. Marcus feels a small spark of pride. He is not a senator, but he is a citizen. He has a right to be here. He looks up at the temple of Castor and Pollux. The three remaining columns reach for the gods. They are tall and elegant. Nearby is the temple of Vesta. It is a round building with a conical roof. Inside, the sacred fire burns. It must never go out. The Vestal virgins guard it with their lives. Marcus bows his head slightly as he passes. He does not know much about the deep mysteries of the state. He only knows that the fire keeps Rome safe. The heat is growing. It is almost noon. The sun is directly overhead. The marble seems to vibrate with the light. Marcus finds a spot near the Miliarium Aureum. This is the golden milestone. It was placed here by Augustus. It marks the starting point of all the roads. Marcus thinks about those roads. They stretch out into the darkness of the world. They cross mountains. They bridge rivers. They bring the gold of Spain and the grain of Egypt. All of it flows into this one square. He sees a group of tourists. They are Greeks from the east. They are pointing at the statues of famous generals. They look impressed. They look small. Everyone looks small in the forum. The architecture is designed to overwhelm. The pillars are too high to touch. The doors are too heavy to move alone. It is a city made for giants. It is a city made for an eternal people. Marcus walks toward the new forum of Trajan. It is just a short distance away. This is the masterpiece of the age. It is a forest of colored marble. He sees the great column rising into the sky. It is carved with the story of the wars in Dacia. Hundreds of tiny figures march around the stone. They fight. They build. They die. It is a book made of marble. Marcus gazes up at the top. The emperor stands there in bronze. He looks out over his creation. The sensory overload is tiring. Marcus feels the weight of the city pressing on his shoulders. Seneca once wrote that the forum is a place of vanity. He said, "It is where men go to lose their souls to ambition." Marcus does not have an ambition. He only has a stomach. He feels the hunger returning. The breakfast of chickpeas is a distant memory. He needs more than a few coins to survive the day. He needs the annona. He needs the bread of the state. He turns away from the grand temples. He moves toward the administrative heart of the city. The noise of the orators fades. It is replaced by the scratch of styluses on wax. It is replaced by the rustle of official scrolls. The forum is where the law is made. But the streets are where the law is felt. Marcus adjusts his toga. It is dusty now. The hem is gray from the travertine dust. He does not mind. A clean toga is for the idle. A dirty toga is for the man who has walked the world. He passes the curia. This is the Senate House. The doors are open. He catches a glimpse of the dark interior. It looks cold and solemn. It is the room where the fate of nations is decided. Marcus does not linger. He is a small part of a big machine. He is a single brick in a wall that covers the earth. He walks with a steady pace. He leaves the glare of the marble behind. He heads toward the grain warehouses near the river. The world's capital has fed his eyes. Now it must feed his body. The sun is a golden weight. The city is a masterpiece of sweat and stone. Marcus is a Roman. He belongs to the Forum, and the Forum belongs to him. He walks on. His shadow is short. The day is only half done. The story of Rome is written in every step he takes. He is the citizen. He is the witness. He is the soul of the eternal city. He moves into the afternoon. He moves into the heat. He moves toward the bread. The road leads away from the marble heights. Marcus walks toward the south. He moves toward the river Tiber. The air grows heavy again. It carries the scent of damp wood. It smells of river silt and wet rope. This is the district of the warehouses. It is called the Emporium. Here the city is made of brick and sweat. There are no temples here. There are only the Horea. These are the great granaries of the state. They are massive. They are silent. They hold the life of Rome within their thick walls. Marcus feels the sun on his back. It is the heat of the afternoon. He reaches into the sinus of his toga. He feels a small object. It is a wooden tablet. This is his tessera frumentaria. It is his most prized possession. It is his grain ticket. Without it, he would starve. With it, he is a partner in the empire's success. The annona is the grain dole. It is the system that feeds the city. Nearly 200,000 citizens receive this gift. It is not charity. It is a right. It is the price the state pays for peace. Marcus finds the end of the queue. It is a long line of white togas. The men are quiet. They are tired. They lean against the brickwork of the Horea Galbae. This warehouse is a masterpiece of logistics. It covers a vast area. It has hundreds of individual rooms. Each room is filled with mountains of wheat. The wheat comes from Egypt. It comes from North Africa. It travels across the sea in giant ships. It is unloaded at the port of Ostia. Then it is towed up the river on barges. Marcus watches the river. The Tiber is a muddy yellow. It is thick with traffic. He sees the barges. They are low in the water. They are heavy with jars of oil and sacks of grain. Strong men work on the docks. They are the Sicari. They are the grain porters. They wear only simple loincloths. Their muscles ripple under the sun. They carry sacks weighing 100 pounds. They move in a steady rhythm. They walk across narrow wooden planks. One slip means a lost load. One slip means a broken limb. Marcus watches them with a touch of envy. These men have a trade. They have strength. Marcus is a citizen of the city. He has no craft. He has no shop. He is a mercenarius. He is a day laborer. Some days he finds work at the docks. He might help sort pottery shards. He might carry messages for a merchant. But today, there is no work for him. The spots are filled. The foremen have their regulars. Marcus must rely on his tessera. The line moves slowly. The sun reflects off the river. It creates a shimmering haze. Marcus wipes his brow. He thinks of the poet Juvenal. Juvenal said the people long for only two things. They want bread. They want circuses. It is a harsh truth. Marcus does not care for the politics of the Senate. He does not care for the wars in the East. He cares for the weight of the grain in his bag. He cares for the warmth of the sun. The heat makes the brain slow. Marcus listens to the sound of the city. It is a mechanical sound here. He hears the creak of the polyspaston. This is a great crane. It uses pulleys and human-powered tread wheels. It lifts huge blocks of stone from the barges. It lifts jars of Spanish wine. The engineers of Rome are the masters of the world. They can move mountains. They can feed 1 million people. Finally, Marcus reaches the front of the line. He enters the cool shadow of the warehouse gate. The air inside is dusty. It smells of dry husks. A clerk sits behind a stone desk. He is a freedman. He looks efficient. He looks bored. Marcus presents his tessera. The clerk checks a list on a long scroll. He nods. He marks a notation in the wax. He hands the ticket back to Marcus. 2 slaves stand behind the clerk. They handle the grain. They use a large bronze measure. It is called a modius. They fill a heavy sack with 5 modii of wheat. This is the monthly ration. It is roughly 35 kilograms. It is heavy. Marcus takes the sack. He heaves it onto his shoulder. The weight presses down on his collarbone. The coarse fabric of the sack rubs against his toga. He does not mind the burden. This is his security. This is his life. He walks out of the warehouse. He moves back toward the center of the city. The weight of the grain changes his gait. He walks with a slight lean. He must get this grain to a miller, or he must grind it himself. Most Romans take their grain to a public bakery. They pay a small fee. The baker turns the wheat into bread. It is a hard, dark bread. It is the fuel of the plebeians. He passes the Monte Testaccio. This is a strange hill. It is not made of earth. It is made of millions of broken oil jars. These are the amphorae that brought olive oil to Rome. When they were empty, they were broken. They were stacked in neat layers. It is a monument to Roman consumption. It is a mountain of trash. Marcus looks at it. He sees the scale of his city. Everything is massive. Everything is planned. The walk is harder now. The afternoon sun is at its peak. Marcus feels the sweat soaking through his tunic. His toga is a hindrance. He wishes he could strip it off. But he is in public. He must maintain his dignity. He passes a small fountain. The water spills from a bronze lion's head. It splashes into a stone basin. Marcus stops. He sets his sack of grain on a low wall. He cups his hands. He drinks deeply. The water is cold. It comes from the mountains. It travels through miles of stone arches. The aqueducts are the veins of the city. Without them, Rome would wither in a week. He splashes his face. The water cools his skin. He looks at his reflection in the basin. He is just one man. He is a small part of a vast machine. The machine provides the water. The machine provides the grain. The machine provides the law. In return, Marcus provides his presence. He provides his voice in the assemblies. He is a piece of the social fabric. He picks up his sack. He moves away from the river. He heads toward the heart of the residential blocks. He needs to secure his grain. He needs to rest his aching shoulder. The day is leaning toward the evening. The transition is coming. Soon the work of the day will end. Soon the ritual of the baths will begin. Marcus walks through the shadows of the tall buildings. He feels the rhythm of the city. It is a pulse of heavy stones and heavy sacks. It is the sound of 1,000,000 people eating. It is the sound of survival. He is tired, but he is fed. He has fulfilled his duty. He has claimed his right. He is a citizen of the eternal city, and his bag is full. He moves into the deepening golden light. The world of labor is behind him. The world of the body is next. He walks toward the steam. He walks toward the water. He walks toward the baths. The sun begins its slow descent. The shadows of the tall apartments stretch across the streets. Marcus feels the grime of the day on his skin. He feels the dust of the forum in his hair. His muscles are stiff from the weight of the grain. There is only one cure for a Roman. He must go to the baths. He walks toward the great brick arches of the Thermae. In this year of 115 AD, the baths of Trajan are the pride of the city. They are a palace for the people. They cover acres of land. They are a city within a city. Marcus reaches the entrance. He does not need much money here. The entry fee is a single quadrans. This is the smallest copper coin in circulation. It is a price even a beggar can often afford. He hands the coin to the attendant at the door. The man drops it into a wooden box. Marcus moves inside. The air changes instantly. It is heavy with moisture. It is thick with the scent of olive oil and wood smoke. He enters the apoditorium. This is the changing room. The walls are lined with stone benches. Above them are small niches. These are the lockers of the ancient world. Marcus uncurls his toga for the last time today. He folds the heavy wool with care. He places his tunic and his sandals in a niche. He has no slave to guard his clothes. He must trust in the gods and the honesty of his fellow citizens. Many people hire a capsarius to watch their things. These are boys who work for tips. Marcus has no tips to give. He casts a nervous glance at his pile of clothes. Then he walks toward the light of the inner courtyard. This is the palaestra. It is a wide, open square surrounded by columns. This is where the exercise happens. The air is filled with the sound of shouting and the thud of heavy balls. Marcus sees men wrestling in the sand. He sees others lifting weights made of stone. Some play a game called harpastum. It is a violent game with a small, hard ball. Marcus is too tired for such sport. He chooses a simpler path. He walks the perimeter of the court. He lets his body warm up in the fading sunlight. The heat of the baths does not come from the sun. It comes from deep below the floor. Marcus walks toward the bathing rooms. He feels the stones beneath his feet getting warmer. This is the magic of the hypocaustum. Below the marble floors there is a forest of small brick pillars. These pillars support the floor. In a nearby room, slaves are stoking massive furnaces. They toss logs into the fire day and night. The hot air from these fires is drawn under the floors. It flows between the brick pillars. It rises through hollow tiles in the walls. These tiles are called tubuli. The entire building is a radiator. The walls breathe heat. The floors glow with it. Marcus enters the tepidarium. This is the warm room. It is a place of transition. There are no pools here. There are only benches. Marcus sits on the warm marble. He feels the heat seep into his bones. It loosens the tightness in his back. He closes his eyes. He listens to the drone of voices. The baths are the great social equalizer. Here, the senator sits next to the baker. The rich man is as naked as the poor man. Only the quality of their oil reveals their status. Marcus moves into the coldarium. This is the hot room. The heat here is intense. It is like stepping into an oven. The air is white with steam. Large bronze braziers stand in the corners to add to the heat. In the center is a large pool of hot water. Marcus walks to the edge. He lowers himself into the water. It is almost too hot to bear. He lets out a long, slow breath. The sweat begins to pour from his forehead. It washes away the gray dust of the Subura. It clears his mind. He stays in the water until his skin is red. Then he steps out. He finds a quiet corner near a marble slab. He reaches into a small leather pouch. He pulls out a flask of oil. It is cheap oil, but it will do. He rubs it over his arms and legs. Then he takes out his strigil. This is a curved metal tool made of bronze. It is shaped like a hook. Marcus begins to scrape his skin. This is how a Roman cleans himself. He has no soap. He uses the oil to lift the dirt from his pores. Then he uses the strigil to peel the oil away. He watches the gray sludge fall to the floor. It is a mixture of oil, sweat, and the city itself. He feels lighter with every stroke of the metal. He scrapes his chest. He scrapes his back as best he can. The philosopher Seneca once complained about the noise of the baths. He lived right above one. He wrote about the sound of the hair pluckers. He wrote about the cries of the sausage sellers. He described the thwack of the masseur's hand on a customer's shoulder. Marcus hears these sounds now. They are the music of Rome. To Seneca, it was a distraction. To Marcus, it is a comfort. It means he is home. The heat becomes too much. Marcus leaves the caldarium. He passes back through the warm room. Finally, he enters the frigidarium. This is the cold room. It is a vast vaulted hall. It is the largest room in the complex. In the center is a pool of deep, frigid water. Marcus does not hesitate. He dives into the pool. The shock is like a bolt of lightning. The cold water snaps his pores shut. It wakes up his spirit. He swims a few strokes. The water is crystal clear. It is fed by the great aqueducts that march across the plains. He climbs out of the cold pool. He feels revitalized. He feels clean for the first time in days. He returns to the apoditarium. His clothes are still there. He breathes a sigh of relief. He pulls on his tunic. He wraps himself in his toga. The wool feels different now. It is heavy, but his body is fresh. He stands taller. He looks at the other men. They are all sharing this moment of peace. The sun is now below the horizon. The great windows of the baths catch the last purple light of the sky. Marcus walks toward the exit. He passes a vendor in the lobby. The man is selling hot pastries filled with honey and poppy seeds. Marcus has a few coins left. He buys one. The pastry is warm and sticky. It is a small luxury. He steps out into the evening air. The transition is complete. The work of the day is a memory. The grime is gone. The city is preparing for the night. Marcus walks back toward the Subura. His feet feel light on the stones. He is a man of the city. He has been washed by the state. He has been warmed by the fires of the emperor. He moves into the twilight. He is ready for the night. He is ready for his rest. He is a Roman. He is clean. He is content. The evening air is cooling, but the city is still loud. Marcus walks away from the steam of the baths. He moves toward the valley between the Palatine and Aventine hills. A deep, rhythmic thrumming fills the air. It is not the sound of machines. It is the sound of 150,000 voices. It is the roar of the Circus Maximus. In Rome, the games are the ultimate escape. The emperor provides them to keep the masses quiet. Bread and circuses, the poet Juvenal had sneered. Marcus does not care about the sneer. He cares about the excitement. He approaches the massive curve of the stadium. It is a giant of stone and timber. It stretches for over 600 meters. The outer walls are lined with shops and taverns. Astrologers stand on street corners. They promise to predict the winning color for a copper coin. Prostitutes wait in the shadows of the arches. The smell of roasting meat hangs heavy in the air. Marcus passes the entrance for the elite. He heads for the steep wooden stairs of the upper tiers. These are the seats for the plebeians. They are high up, they are cramped, but the view of the track is perfect. He finds a spot on a hard wooden bench. He is packed in tight with other men. The heat of their bodies radiates through their togas. Below him, the track is a long oval of crushed sand. It is divided by a central barrier called the spina. This barrier is decorated with statues and obelisks. At each end are the metai. These are the turning posts. They are the most dangerous spots on the track. This is where wheels shatter. This is where horses stumble. This is where men die. The crowd is a sea of colors. There are 4 factions: the reds, the whites, the greens, and the blues. Marcus is a supporter of the greens. He wears a small scrap of green cloth pinned to his tunic. The Emperor Trajan is said to favor the reds. But here in the stands, Marcus is equal to any man. He can scream at the drivers. He can curse the losing horses. The atmosphere is electric. It is a shared madness. The gates fly open. The sound is like a thunderclap. 4 chariots burst onto the track. Each is pulled by 4 powerful horses. The drivers are called aurigae. They stand in small, light wooden cars. They do not hold the reins in their hands. They wrap them around their waists. They carry a sharp knife in their belt. If they crash, they must cut themselves free. If they fail, they will be dragged to death. The race is 7 laps. Marcus stands up. He joins the roar. "Go, Scorpus! Faster!" he screams. The dust rises in a thick cloud. The charioteers lean into the turns. They lash their horses with whips. The sound of the hooves is like a drumbeat in the chest. At the spina, the lap counters are lowered. They are shaped like bronze eggs or dolphins. 1 lap down. 6 to go. The green driver takes the inside rail. He is inches from the stone turning post. The crowd gasps. The blue driver tries to wedge him out. The wheels lock for a second. Wood splinters. The blue chariot flips. The driver is thrown into the sand. He rolls like a rag doll. The crowd does not go quiet. They roar louder. This is the shipwreck they came to see. Marcus feels the adrenaline. It is a primal thing. It makes him forget the hunger. It makes him forget the leaking ceiling of his apartment. The race ends in a blur of speed. The green driver crosses the finish line first. Marcus pumps his fist in the air. He has won nothing. He did not bet his coins, but he feels the victory. It is a win for his faction. It is a win for his identity. The winners receive a palm branch and a crown of laurel. They also receive a purse of gold. A top driver can become richer than a senator. He is a god in the eyes of the poor. The sun is lower now. The race is over. The crowd begins to pour out of the exits. Marcus walks in the shadow of the Palatine Hill. He looks up at the massive palaces of the emperors. They look down on the circus like stone giants. He then looks toward the Flavian amphitheater. Most call it the Colosseum. It sits in the center of the city like a crown of bone. There were no executions there today. There were no gladiators, but the smell of blood still seems to linger in the ground. Marcus prefers the circus. The races are about speed. The amphitheater is about death. Seneca once wrote about the midday shows. He saw men forced to fight without armor. He saw the pure murder of the arena. He asked why people enjoyed such things. Marcus does not have an answer. He only knows that the city is a violent place. The games reflect the world. Life is a struggle. Only the strong or the lucky survive. The roar of the stadium fades behind him. The adrenaline begins to leave his system. He feels a sudden, deep exhaustion. The excitement was a meal for the soul, but his belly is still mostly empty. He walks through the Villabrum. This is the low ground between the hills. It was once a swamp. Now it is a busy market. The stalls are closing. The shadows are long and blue. He thinks of the horses. They are back in their stables now. They are being rubbed down with oil. They are eating the finest grain. He thinks of the drivers. They are drinking wine in gilded halls. Marcus is just a face in the crowd. He is the man who cheered. He is the man who disappeared. He adjusts his toga. The white wool is now stained with the dust of the track. He does not mind. The circuses are over for today. The bread is in his sack at home. The Roman day is nearly done, but the city is not finished with him yet. He must return to his gods. He must find his table. He walks toward the Subura. The streets are narrowing. The light is dying. The roar of the circus is replaced by the murmur of the evening. He is a Roman. He has seen the speed of the world. He has felt the power of the crowd. Now he seeks the quiet of his own small walls. He moves into the dusk. The eternal city begins to glow with the light of 1,000 lamps. The twilight deepens into a bruised purple. Marcus reaches the threshold of his insula. The street is a cacophony of slamming shutters. But inside his room, the atmosphere shifts. He does not go straight to his bed. He turns to a small wooden shelf on the wall. This is his lararium. It is the most sacred spot in his home. In Rome, the gods are not just in the high temples. They live in the shadows of the kitchen. They sit in the corners of the bedroom. He looks at the small clay figurines on the shelf. These are the lares. They are the guardian spirits of the household. Beside them stands a figure of the genius. This represents the divine spirit of the head of the family. There is also a small, snake-like carving. This is the agathodaimon. It ensures the fertility and health of the home. Marcus feels a sense of duty. The state has its great rituals, but a man must tend to his own house first. He takes a small pinch of salt. He adds a few grains of his hard-won wheat. He places these on a tiny ceramic plate. He does not say a long prayer. The Roman relationship with the gods is a contract. It is do ut des. This means I give so that you might give. He honors the spirits. In return, he asks that the building does not collapse tonight. He asks that the fire stays in the hearth. He asks for a quiet sleep. He lights a small oil lamp. The flame is tiny and flickers in the draught. The shadows of the lares dance on the peeling plaster. Marcus thinks of the public rituals he saw earlier. He saw the priests of the Arval Brethren. They wore crowns of grain. They performed the ancient dances to ensure a good harvest. Every Roman is a priest in his own way. Every father is the master of his own family's fate. The smell of the salt and grain burning is faint. It is a clean smell. It cuts through the stench of the hallway. Marcus feels a connection to his ancestors. His father did this. His grandfather did this. Rome is built on these small, invisible threads. The law keeps the order. The army keeps the peace. But the gods keep the soul. He remembers the words of the philosopher Seneca. Seneca said that God is near you. He said, God is with you. He is within you. Marcus does not understand the deep philosophy. He only knows that the room feels less empty. He feels the presence of the penates. These are the gods of the pantry. They watch over his store of grain. They protect the food that keeps him alive. The city outside is a place of public spectacle. There are grand processions. There are white bulls led to the slaughter. There is the smoke of incense from the high altars. But here in the dark, the religion is private. It is silent. Marcus bows his head. He touches the stone of the shelf. He feels a moment of true peace. The chaos of the circus is gone. The noise of the forum is a memory. He looks at the lamp. The oil is low. He must not waste it. He turns away from the shrine. He moves toward his small cooking brazier. The gods have been fed. Now it is his turn. He thinks of the great temple of Jupiter on the Capitoline. It is covered in gold. It can be seen from miles away. But his small shelf is just as important. To Marcus, this is the center of the world. He thinks of the Vestal Virgins. They are at this moment tending the eternal fire. If that fire dies, Rome falls. Marcus looks at his own small flame. He feels a strange weight. He is a part of the whole. His small light is a tiny spark in the great fire of the empire. He is a citizen. He is a worshipper. He is a Roman. He takes a deep breath. The air is still and heavy. The gods are watching. The house is safe for another hour. He moves to prepare his meal. The ritual is done. The contract is signed. The spirits are at rest. Marcus begins to grind his grain. The sound of the small mill is a rhythmic hum. It is the sound of a life in balance. The night is coming. The gods are here. He is home. The light of the oil lamp is small. It casts long shadows across the brick walls. Marcus is hungry. The excitement of the day has faded. Now the body demands its due. In Rome, dinner is the cena. For the rich, it is a parade of exotic meats. They eat roasted peacock. They drink wine cooled with mountain snow. They lie on soft couches and listen to flutes. For Marcus, the cena is a different story. It is a quiet battle with the cold. He sits on a wooden stool. He has no table. He uses his knees to balance his bowl. Most of his meal comes from the grain sack. He has ground a portion of the wheat into flour. He has mixed it with water and a little salt. This creates a thick porridge called pulse. It is the foundational food of the Roman people. It is heavy. It is filling. It is the taste of the working class. He adds a few drops of olive oil. The oil is yellow and thick. It caught the light of the lamp as it fell. Then he reaches for a small ceramic jar. This is his garum. It is the fermented fish sauce he bought in the Subura. He adds just a dash. The smell is sharp and salty. It gives the bland porridge a kick of life. Without garum, the diet of the poor would be unbearable. It is the salt of the earth. He has a small piece of cheese. It is dry and hard. He crumbles it into the bowl. He also has a few olives. They are wrinkled and bitter. This is the Mediterranean diet in its simplest form: bread, oil, and wine. He pours a cup of the watered-down wine. He dips a crust of hard bread into the liquid. This is how he softens it. The bread is black bread. It is made from the bran and the husks. It is gritty. It is honest. Marcus eats slowly. He savors every bite. In a city of 1 million people, many go to bed with nothing. He thinks of the grand banquets on the Palatine. The historian Tacitus wrote of dinners that lasted until dawn. He spoke of the waste. He spoke of the vomiting. Marcus does not envy the excess. He only envies the warmth. His room is drafty. The small charcoal brazier provides little heat. The smoke stings his eyes. He looks at his bowl. This is the reality of the Roman economy. The empire is a machine that extracts wealth from the edges. It brings it to the center, but the center is divided. The grain comes from the Nile. The oil comes from Spain. The fish comes from the Atlantic. It all ends up here, in this small room on the 4th floor. Marcus is the end of the line. He is the consumer of the world's labor. He thinks of the social divide. Seneca, the younger, once said that a man should live in a tiny room to know his true self. He said we should eat the food of the poor to stay humble. Marcus smiles to himself. It is easy for a rich man to play at being poor. It is harder to have no choice. Marcus does not play. This is his life. He finishes the last of the porridge. He scrapes the bottom of the clay bowl. The wine is nearly gone. He saves the last sip for a libation. He pours a few drops onto the floor for the spirits of the house. It is a small gesture. It is a way of saying thank you. He is still alive. He has eaten. The roof has not fallen. In 1115 AD, that is a successful day. He wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. He feels a sense of heavy satisfaction. He puts the bowl away. He does not have a sink. He will clean it tomorrow at the public fountain. He moves to his bed. The straw under the fabric is lumpy. He pulls a heavy wool blanket over his legs. The night air is turning cold. He can hear the neighbors through the walls. They are eating too. He hears the clatter of spoons. He hears the low murmur of tired voices. The city is a belly. It is always hungry. It takes the harvest of the world and grinds it up. Marcus is a small tooth in that giant mouth. He has done his part. He is consumed. He has survived. He watches the lamp flame flicker. It is dying. The oil is spent. The room grows dark. The smells of the meal linger. The scent of fish sauce and wood smoke is the perfume of the poor. He closes his eyes. The taste of the wine is still on his tongue. It is sour and thin, but it is the taste of Rome. He feels the weight of the day leaving his limbs. The scena is over. The social hierarchies are forgotten in sleep. Rich or poor, every man meets the night alone. Marcus pulls the blanket higher. He waits for the silence. He waits for the end of the day. The eternal city is quiet for a moment. The bread is gone. The citizen is full. He drifts into the shadows of the past. The oil lamp gives one final flicker. Then it dies. The room is plunged into a thick, velvet blackness. Outside, the character of the city changes. The roar of the million-headed crowd is gone. It is replaced by a different kind of noise. This is the time of the wagons. By the decree of the emperors, heavy transport is banned during the day. Now the iron-rimmed wheels strike the basalt paving stones. The sound echoes up the narrow canyon of the Subura. It is a rhythmic, grinding thunder. It shakes the wooden frame of the insula. Marcus lies in the dark. He listens to the shouting of the teamsters. They are bringing in the marble for the new temples. They are hauling the giant jars of wine for the taverns. Rome must be restocked while the citizens sleep. It is a logistical miracle, but for the man in the fourth-story room, it is a nightly torment. Martial once wrote that only the rich can sleep in Rome. He said the laughter of the passing crowds and the roar of the wagons kill sleep for the poor. Marcus pulls his blanket over his ears. He tries to find the silence. The streets below are unlit. There are no public lamps in the alleys of the Subura. If you walk at night, you carry a torch, or you walk in fear. The darkness belongs to the grassators. These are the muggers and the street thugs. They wait in the shadows of the stone arches. They look for the lone walker. Even a man like Marcus is not safe. They would steal his threadbare toga for the price of a cup of wine. He hears a sudden crash of pottery from the street. Then comes a string of curses. Someone has emptied a chamber pot from a high window. It is the nightly hazard of the city. To walk the night is to risk a death from above. The satirist Juvenal said, "There are as many fates as there are open windows." Marcus stays in his bed. He is safe within his walls, but the walls feel thin. He thinks of the fire watch, the vigils. He hears the distant sound of their whistles. They are the only thing standing between the city and a sea of flame. They patrol the night with buckets of vinegar and heavy hooks. They are the guardians of the sleeping million. He stares at the ceiling he cannot see. He thinks of the day that has passed. He has walked the hills. He has seen the gold of the temples. He has felt the heat of the baths. He has eaten the grain of Egypt. He is a tiny part of a colossal whole. Rome is more than a city. It is an idea. It is the belief that the world can be ordered. It is the belief that a man in a fourth-story room is connected to the stars. The Emperor Trajan is likely asleep on the Palatine. The legions are awake on the Danube. The sailors are watching the stars on the Mediterranean. And Marcus is here. He is the witness to it all. He feels a strange sense of pride. The city is dirty. It is loud. It is dangerous. But it is the center of the universe. To be a Roman is to be at the heart of the story. The sounds of the wagons begin to fade. The first hint of the false dawn touches the edge of the sky. The air in the room is cold. It smells of stone and old wool. Soon the nomenclator will begin to call names. Soon the water carriers will start their climb. The cycle will begin again. The grain will be distributed. The law will be argued. The races will be run. Marcus feels the pull of sleep at last. His body is heavy. His mind is quiet. He has survived another day in the capital of the world. He is Marcus, a free man. He is a citizen of the eternal city. The history of the future will look back at these stones. They will wonder how it felt to walk these streets. Marcus knows. It felt like sweat. It felt like stone. It felt like home. He closes his eyes. The shadows of the Laris watch over him in the dark. The pulse of Rome beats beneath his floor. It is a slow, steady drum. It is the sound of an empire that believes it will never end. The night is deep. The city is vast. And the citizen is at rest. He drifts into the long sleep of the ages. The story of Marcus is done. But the story of Rome is written in the sunrise that waits just beyond the hills. The eternal city waits for the light. And the light will come. It always does. The lamp has finally flickered out, and the heavy thrum of the night wagons is all that remains. Marcus is asleep, but the vast machinery of the Roman Empire continues to turn far beyond the city walls. If you enjoyed walking the crowded streets of the Subura with Marcus, you might wonder who held the line at the edge of the world. Who guarded the Rhine, the Danube, and the sands of the east so that the grain ships could sail in peace? To find out, stay with us here at Sleepy Stories from Ages Past. Our next journey takes us away from the marble of the Forum and into the ironclad reality of the frontier. Watch our featured story, A Day in the Life of a Roman Legionary. You will swap the civilian toga for the heavy lorica segmentata. You will feel the weight of the scutum shield and hear the rhythm of the march. Thank you for listening. May your sleep be as deep as the history of the Eternal City. Rest well, for tomorrow the sun rises again on Rome.